Hello, and welcome to another edition of It's Just Me, hosted by Brent Fox. Um, Today's or tonight's show is probably, and I'm just going to go ahead and give you the disclaimer, it's probably not going to be the best. uh, we're already starting off wrong with the video quality, and things are actually slow on the two sports that I actually cover, which of course is boxing and football. There are a few tidbits that I'll just go ahead and mention, or just a few short topics rather, that I'll just go ahead and mention. First, I want to make sure that I take care of my people. I highly recommend you all check out Coach 67 Sports TV. He's on YouTube and all other social media platforms. He has Bayou Sports Talk, which is a series that usually comes on Saturdays around 2 p.m. Central Standard Time, I believe. There's also my brother Jared O11 Green, who also has my brother Coach 67 Sports TV on there. He has Joseph Townsend on there, and then the one and only JB on there. And then there are special guest appearances by the smoother than silk Jay Good. All right. And yes, that boy good. All right. Now, also we have my brother I.J.M Will that usually makes appearances for shows. Friday nights, Central Standard Time is usually around 7 p.m. on YouTube. And then also he does Soul Man Sundays, legendary. So it's a legendary series, Soul Man Sundays, which he comes on usually around, I would say, 12 noon Central Standard. His Soul Man Sundays and Freestyle Fridays are stuff of legends. It is a really, really organic show. Yes, it is a long running show, but there are so many subjects that he touches on with conviction that it'll basically make you stay for almost the whole thing. So, shouts out to my brother I am Trill Will. Also a shout out to my brother Cadillac Red doing his thing. He usually does Usual Suspects. He'll do that, I believe, Mondays and Fridays at this point. He also does Views from the Lack, which I believe are on Wednesdays. And then I think he still does the series with the two ladies on there, which are Tuesdays and Thursdays, I believe. I think it's Talk After Dark, something of that nature. And those are usually Tuesdays and Thursdays. So shout outs to my brothers on that particular front. Um, Now, also, I want to make sure that I go ahead and mention a new series that Black Fight Fan is coming out with, along with Junior the Truth. Please check out Junior the Truth. Um, his shows usually come on in the mornings uh, on YouTube. He has his own social media platform, which is the Punch Junkie Boxing Network. He can instruct you better than I can on how to get on that particular platform and follow his shows. But usually his shows are on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. Usually they go on about, I would say, 7:30 a.m. or 8 a.m. Central Standard Time, of course. And that's on YouTube along with his other social media platforms that you can utilize. Um, Black Fight Fan has a new show called Hamburger Cheese. Please check that out. I think that comes on YouTube I know on Saturdays. There may be another day that it actually comes out as well. But I know for a fact he rolls those shows out uh, very frequently on Saturdays. So please check that out as well. I know that I'm probably going to miss a few people, and please blame that on my head, not my heart. Um, I have the best of intentions for my LDBC family, and I want them to win. I really do. When they win, it feels like one of the family members actually made it. So it's just in me. and I'm sure that people that know me actually see that. It's in me for to root other people on, for them to actually win and then evolve. I love seeing that. But anyway, we'll go ahead and get on to these light topics that we have for this particular show. Since things are actually slow here, I'll talk about some upcoming fights. Um, one of which is Amanda Serrano, and she'll be taking on. Give me just a second. I'm so sorry. She's actually going to be taking on Nina Minke on the undercard of Jake Paul and Ryan Borland. That is actually going to be on the zone. That's going to wind up being on the zone, I think, Saturday, March 2nd. So you're more than welcome to check that out. And then there's another fight that comes on ESPN, which is Odebek Kulmatov, and he will be taking on Raymond Ford for the WBA featherweight title. And then on the undercard of that is Luis Alberto Lopez and Reina Ali. Um, so those are going to be like some up and comers that'll probably be featured on both ESPN, and then of course you have the more popular fight with Jake Paul and Ryan Borland. Um, I'm very excited to see Amanda Serrano back in the ring. Of course, she'll be defending the WBA, IBF, and WBO female featherweight titles. Um, Now, also, uh, since things are actually slow on the boxing front, did a little research, and I have actually started watching highlights of a gentleman by the name of Ben Whitaker. Now, Mr. Whitaker is a UK fighter. Um, looking at his frame, I think that he may actually fight at probably a lower weight class, like maybe 140, I think. Um, but he is very reminiscent of one um, Prince Nassim Hamed, and also a little Emmanuel Augustus as well, with the antics that he actually provides. When you have a moment, please just look up Ben Whitaker Boxer on YouTube or Google or whatever the case may be, or whatever research engine you prefer to use. He does actually bring a certain brand of entertainment to boxing. He was a silver medalist, I think, in the 2020 Olympics. Um, excuse me, and has actually gone on to, of course, have a decent pro career. He he's clearly outclassing his opponents, and in doing so, he pretty much lets them know that they're being outclassed by providing a few dance moves, trick punches, and overall entertaining flurries that actually get the opponents out of there. He is fun to watch at this particular point, but I'm sure that as the level of competition actually goes up, those antics will probably just kind of wean themselves off. So it's kind of like a hey, enjoy this now while you can type thing with Mr. Whitaker. I do look forward to his next fight. I believe he's going to fight, um, I think it's March 30th or 31st. And excuse me, I'm sorry. And he'll be on the undercard. I know of two British heavyweights. Let me grab that information for you. It'll be on the undercard of Fabio Wardley and Fraser Clark. He'll be fighting March 31st, or is scheduled rather to fight March 31st on that particular undercard, with the opponent to be determined, I believe. So I do kind of look forward into just following that. and seeing what he does with this particular opponent that he has scheduled to fight. Um, in other news, there was a press conference between Devin Haney and also Ryan Garcia. Um, Ryan Gar- Ryan Garcia kind of seemed a little unstable at times during the press conference. His entrance with the women kind of getting out in front, throwing red petals at his feet as he was walking in, giving the King Ride vibe, I guess. And I'll give him, I'll give him a B plus for the effort. Meanwhile, Devin Haney was pretty much for the most part cool, calm, and collected. Now there were some spurts where he was a bit aggressive, but all in all, I think that he was pretty. I think that he was pretty cool, calm, and collected most of that particular press conference. The interactions between Bill Haney and Ryan's camp were also pretty amusing. Um, and I think that this particular fight will probably be better than expected. I do not think either one of these fighters are just gonna run off and dominate the other. I think that it would probably be a very intense and very close fight. And to be quite honest with you, I think that Ryan Garcia may have some early success in the fight, but I also believe that Devin Haney will probably be able to kind of adjust, much like his predecessors like Mayweather or Terrence Crawford. More recently, would be able to adjust to whatever he's actually doing, and then find a way to basically win. Whether or not he wins by stoppage or if he wins by decision, that's yet to be determined. I will be doing a fight breakdown on that closer to the fight, which is scheduled for April the 20th. Um, there's also another fight that actually um, will be taking place March 30th. And I can't believe that, yeah, I can, because this particular fight is not really a pay per view fight and should just be shown regularly. But PBC is rolling out their first pay per view fight on Amazon Prime's platform, and it will feature Tim Tszyu versus Keith Thurman at 154. I cannot sugarcoat this. This is not a fight that is worth pay per view. It is a very regular fight. There is not an indication that I think or believe um, that has any type of mystery to it or any type of real intrigue, to be honest with you. I and I don't want to be critical of a boxing outfit, but PBC does have to do better. Um, I will get into this. PBC, I believe, may have lost Canelo as far as fighting on their network. Um, Unfortunately, Mr. Alvarez, and I let me make sure that I reiterate this, okay, because it is very important that people clearly understand what I am saying. Okay. I have a deep admiration and respect for Canelo Alvarez, the fighter. A deep admiration and respect for Canelo Alvarez as a fighter. As a matter of fact, I do actually practice some punch sequences that he throws, which is basically it's a 4-6, and what a 4-6 is basically a hook to the body and then an uppercut that he is well known for. Before that, of course, Mike Tyson was well known for that as well. But I have a deep admiration and respect for, again, Canelo Alvarez, the fighter. Canelo Alvarez, the businessman, I despise. There's I'm I despise Canelo Alvarez, the businessman. Okay. I do not know Canelo Alvarez, the person. Okay. I cannot make any judgments on Canelo Alvarez, the person. I do not like Canelo Alvarez, the businessman. Canelo Alvarez, the businessman, has deprived fans of great fights, such as more recently David Benavidez, um, Jermall Charlo in his prime. If Canelo fights Jermall Charlo, and that's the larger Charlo, at this particular point, both him and his brother Mel have proven that they have way too much respect for Canelo at this particular point, and they will lay down. That is not easy for me to say because I am a fan of both fighters. Um, and, unfortunately, the truth is the truth on that. And there's just not a way for me to be able to sugarcoat that. They will lay down if they fight um, Canelo. I think that even if Canelo fought Earl Spence at 160, I think at best Earl could put up a good showing, but given the Terrence Crawford performance, I don't know. There was a point where I think that Earl may have had a chance to actually beat Canelo at 160 if Canelo elected to fight him at that particular weight. But at this particular point, I am not sure of that at all. And knowing um, Earl Spence Jr., the fighter, because I do not know him as a person. Um, I know Earl Spence Jr., the fighter, will probably try and go for the big fight and not try to do anything to tune up or acclimate the skills that he already has. All right. So also on that particular Sue versus Keith Thurman card is Rolly Romero taking on Yvonne Pitbull Cruz. That particular fight seems like a good matchup on paper. Um, I really am worried about Rolly's defense. Um, Pitbull Cruz is actually a great nickname for Yvonne Cruz because, I mean, once he's got a lock on you, he's not letting up. And what that basically means is he's a guy that's just going to keep coming, regardless of what you hit him with. Now, granted, Abdul Wahid or Tank Davis broke his hand in that particular fight and was only able to just kind of jab and pivot his way around. Um, excuse me, I'm sorry, that was his right hand. So he was just able to kind of pop shot Pitbull Cruz and work his way around him. Um, but he did win a unanimous decision, and people are actually forgetting that. So Tank clearly won because he clearly outclassed Pitbull Cruz. There were some moments where, yes, Pitbull Cruz did get some good shots in. But again, I believe that was a unanimous decision. So Tank clearly won that because he clearly outclassed and clearly outboxed him. I do not see Rolly Romero clearly outclassing and clearly outboxing Yvonne Cruz. So there's that. Now, getting back to the main event, which is Keith Thurman versus Costa Sioux. Um, I'm not going to. Um, I'm not going to sit here and say that Keith Thurman has literally no chance against Costa Sioux. Um, Actually, I believe that if Keith Thurman is able to use his boxing ability, and if his legs are still pretty good, then he may be able to outbox Tim Tszyu. It is just it is just the I would say probably like the inactivity in between fights. Of course, Keith Thurman's age, and then also his durability with attacks in the body. Like I believe that Keith Thurman still has a pretty solid chin, but I do not think that he has a solid midsection. Um, to be quite honest with you, and I think that's his kryptonite as uh, far as him as a fighter. Like I think those body shots do take a toll on him, and unfortunately, Tim Tszyu happens to be a pretty good body puncher as well. So that is not a good mix. But I still think that there's a very small chance that Keith Thurman could possibly outbox and then upset Tim Tszyu, but it has to be by a very large margin. I mean, Tim Tszyu has to look so slow and be unable to keep up so badly that they have to give Keith Thurman those particular rounds. If it's close, that particular round is going to go to Tim Tszyu. Okay, I'm telling you right here, right now, that's what it's looking like. And again, I am not sure what the PBC actually owes. Um, excuse me, Keith one time Thurman, but getting this particular fight with Tim Tszyu on pay per view would normally be very perplexing um, because and the only reason I'm saying that is, of course, it's a regular fight. It's not worth pay per view. PBC could have done a much better job of rolling this out. Um, and I get it. They were not awarded a budget from Amazon, so they're having to come up with their own financial strategy to try to keep this thing afloat. Um, but again, there has to be some way that you are able to try to get some of these major fights done and not be able and not try to seemingly get over on your core fan base with fights that should not be pay per view. I can't stress that enough. Um, Now, I know that I've been skipping around subjects, and it just kind of brings me back to the whole Canelo not fighting the very best, uh, and again, him not fighting a prime Charlo and a prime David Benavidez. Um, that that's really bothersome. It really is. Now, the only other person that he did fight somewhat in their prime, and I would argue that because of Triple G's age at the time, uh, was actually Gennady Golovkin. Um, that first fight was a very close fight. The second fight, to me, the second fight, Canelo clearly won. And then the third fight, of course, was just a money grab for both fighters. And Canelo clearly won that one too. Um, Now, also, again, when the best are not fighting the very best, it does a whole lot of damage towards boxing, which leads me to Clarissa Shields having an MMA fight a few days ago, or maybe a week ago, I believe, in Saudi Arabia. Now, she did actually win, I believe, by a split decision because the fight was that close. And then her having to uh, turn to MMA just to either, and she presents it like she's actually challenging herself, But I honestly believe that it's because of the pay, like she may have alluded to in a post-fight interview. Um, it is a very sad day when you have one of the most decorated boxers in history having to resort to training and fighting in a whole nother combat sport just to make sure that they have enough funds to just kind of live the way that they want to. Um, I think the problem, and much like 78 Sports TV has mentioned, and please, if you haven't already, please check out 78 Sports TV. He has shows usually at 10 a.m. Central Standard on YouTube as well. He is, of course, a legendary podcaster, and he has very insightful and also hilarious takes on all sorts of subjects. But yeah, please check him out. Also, it's just tough to kind of see that go on. And again, I think that the situation with women's boxing is that I think we are trying to, like the WNBA, make it appeal to men as opposed to just trying to make it appeal to more women. I think that if more women got behind this particular sport and actually supported it the way that they support other things. And this is not a call out to women. Okay, let me be clear on that. This is not a call out to women. This is a call out to the promotional aspect of it, saying that they need to appeal to women in order for this combat sport to be more successful. Um, there's a formula that I believe MMA actually has over boxing to where they're able to appeal to, yes, they're able to appeal to men, but I'm sure that somewhere along the lines they're actually able to appeal to more women as well. And I think that's why MMA women's fighting is a lot more successful than women's boxing. Um, and to be quite honest with you, the talent level, as far as athletic and climate, is not that far apart. To be quite honest with you, there was a point in time to where female boxers were way more athletic than female MMA fighters. Now, I'm sure that that has drastically changed at this point because female MMA fighters are making more money than female boxers. So why would you take that sort of damage for less money? So yeah, of course they're going to go over there and try to make more money. Um, but again, um, women's boxing is not a dying sport, contrary to what some extremists may believe. I just think that it needs a little help, to be honest. But yeah, there definitely needs to be something um, that can have some sort of appeal to the female audience, and of course, appeal to the male audience as well. That way, this sport can kind of grow and thrive like it should. Okay. To be quite honest with you, the reason that I actually prefer boxing over MMA is because, and this is going to sound very savage, but I would love, as far as combat sports, I love to see someone get punched out, not choked out, um, or having to tap out because someone has actually just, gripped a body part and has them in excruciating pain. I would definitely rather see someone get punched out and then put on the ground rather than someone get wrestled down to the ground and then have to tap out because either they have like a body part that's going to get broken, or or they're about to run out of oxygen. Um, it's just it's a very dark and savage part of me, but I enjoy in combat sports seeing someone get punched out. Because it's much more strategic. Um, because you are kind of limited to using your hands and your wit to try to make your opponents succumb to whatever it is you're trying to do. Um, with MMA, there's there are limitless ways to actually make your opponent surrender, and then some of which are more entertaining than others, of course. But again, there's nothing like getting it done with your hands, and then just you know breaking someone's will or their spirit. It is what it is. I very much enjoy seeing that. Um, I know that sounds very brutal or dark, but as far as combat sports go, and it is the hurt business, um, that's what I would prefer to see. I would prefer to see someone use their mind and their fist and then overcome somebody with those tools rather than see someone just get choked out or get put in like a pretzel hole with their arm or their leg and then they have to quit. Um, it's just more entertaining to see somebody get destroyed getting punched. Moving on to a moving on to another subject, and we'll get out of this particular dark zone. Well, moving on to another subject. I think not this coming weekend, of course, but the weekend after. Anthony Joshua is going to fight Francis Ngannou. I think that I am actually going to do a 20 by 20 series on that, probably this next show. So just be looking for that. I'll just try to give a systemic breakdown on the strengths and vulnerabilities of each fighter, and then of course, a possible outcome. So I actually look forward to doing that particular breakdown on this next show. I want to thank you all for tuning in, and I wish you all peace and positivity throughout this particular week. I know this is probably going to be the last show that I do for Black History Month. So if you haven't already, you know, try to do some research on a Black figure, probably that's prominent in your community. I've done people for the Dallas community like John Wiley Price, Eddie Bernice Johnson. I've even done, excuse me, I've even done Senator Royce West. And give me just a second here. Uh, yeah, I've even done Senator Royce West and Mayor Ron Kirk. Um, so yeah, there are several people here that you could actually be proud of, or there are several people in your community that if you just do a little bit of research on, you'll be proud of them. Um, and then I've also done, oh my goodness, um, I've done Willis Johnson and what is the senator's name uh, from here? I think it's Jasmine. Um, was it Jasmine Crockett? Yeah, it was Jasmine Crockett. She was she's actually a senator from here, and well, she's originally from St. Louis, Missouri, but she actually represented like Fort Worth. But she was an interesting personality as well. So you there's not a shortage of people, especially whom are Black, that you can actually just kind of research that have made a difference here where you live. So I just challenge you to just try to look up one person before the month's over This is going to come out like the very last day of February, I believe. So just look into that, please, by all means. Um, I apologize for the camera quality and also the length of the show. I was not expecting it to go this long, but thanks for hanging in there with me. And again, y'all, peace and positivity, and I'll holler at y'all later.